The first time I held a stolen key in my hand, I knew I had crossed a line I could never come back from. I still remember the way my fingers trembled that night. I wasn't a criminal. I wasn't someone who took risks. I was just Emily Parker, 27 years old, born and raised in Austin, Texas. A girl who believed in doing everything the right way. But that night, standing in the empty hallway of a building I was never supposed to be in, I realized something terrifying. I was breaking the law. Not for money. Not for greed. But because the people I loved most in this world were slipping through my fingers and no one else was coming to save them. I whispered to myself, just open the door, Em. Just do it. For Mom. For Josh. My voice cracked as I slid the key into the lock. If you had told me a year ago that I would risk my entire future like this, I would have laughed. I was the responsible one in my family. The safe one. The boring one. But when life pushes you into a corner, you discover parts of yourself you never thought existed. And as the lock clicked open, I swear my heart nearly stopped. My whole body screamed at me to turn back, but my mind, my heart, they reminded me of why I was there. My mother's face. Pale. Weak. My brother's desperate eyes. They needed me. And I was willing to do anything, even this. I thought in that moment that this was the worst night of my life. But I was so wrong. Because this was only the beginning. When the man who controlled my paycheck also controlled my mother's life, I realized I was trapped. His name was Richard Crawford. My boss. On the outside he looked polished, designer suits, silver hair, the kind of smile people trusted. But behind closed doors he was cruel, manipulative, and powerful enough to destroy anyone who crossed him. I worked at Crawford Pharmaceuticals as an assistant. A small job, but it paid just enough to cover rent and help with Mom's medical bills. She's been battling a rare heart condition, and the medication keeping her alive comes from the very company I worked for. One afternoon, I went to Richard's office to beg for a discount on Mom's medicine. My voice was shaking, but I swallowed my pride and asked anyway. He leaned back in his leather chair, smirked, and said, "Nothing in this world is free, Emily. If you want my help, you'll have to do something for me." I didn't understand at first. But then he slid a folder across the desk. Documents. Numbers. Information I wasn't supposed to have. He wanted me to use my clearance to access restricted files. To help cover up something illegal inside the company. I remember whispering, "You're asking me to commit a crime." He just leaned closer, his cologne burning my nose, and said, "I'm not asking, Emily. I'm telling you. Think about your mother. Do you want her to keep breathing? Or do you want to watch her die?" I froze. I could feel my world collapsing in that moment. My mother's face flashed in my mind, pale and fragile on her hospital bed. My younger brother Josh, still in college, looking to me for answers I didn't have. Richard had me exactly where he wanted me. I wanted to run. To escape. To disappear. But fate had other plans. Because that's the night. I was pushed straight into a stranger's arms. The night I thought I'd lose everything, a stranger appeared out of nowhere. I was leaving the office late, my bag clutched against me, the folder Richard had forced into my hands burning like fire against my side. Every step echoed in the empty parking garage. I felt like a criminal. And then I heard footsteps behind me. Heavy. Fast. "Emily," one of Crawford's security men called out. My stomach dropped. He knew. I broke into a run, my heels clattering against the concrete. My breath came out sharp and ragged. I was cornered near the stairwell when a voice cut through the air. "Leave her alone." A tall man stepped out of the shadows. Broad shoulders, sharp eyes, confidence radiating off him like armor. The guard froze. "Who the hell are you?" the guard barked. The stranger didn't answer. He just slid his jacket back enough to reveal something clipped at his belt. A badge. Or at least something that looked like one. The guard hesitated, muttered a curse, and stormed off, his footsteps fading. I was shaking so hard I could barely breathe. The stranger turned to me. His voice was calm, steady. "You don't know me, but I know what Crawford is making you do. And if you keep going down this road, you're going to lose everything." I stared at him, confused and terrified. "Who are you?" "Daniel," he said simply. "Let's just say, I used to be on the inside. And I know exactly what Crawford is capable of. I should have walked away. I should have run. But something in his voice, the certainty, the quiet strength, made me stop. He offered his hand. If you want out, you'll need help. And right now, I'm the only one willing to stand in front of you. My mind screamed not to trust him. But my heart whispered that I had no choice. That night I made a risky decision. I accepted his offer. And when Richard found out I wasn't under his control anymore, Daniel did something bold, something reckless. He announced to everyone at the company gala that I was with him. I thought he was helping me for a moment. But he was about to change my life forever. Running away sounds easy, until you have no money, no home, and no one left to trust. After Daniel's bold announcement at the gala, everything in my life spun out of control. Crawford's men followed me everywhere. I couldn't go home. I couldn't risk leading them to Mom or Josh. So I packed a single bag, left a shaky note for my brother, and disappeared into the night. The first week was brutal. Cheap motels with flickering lights. Sleepless nights listening for footsteps outside the door. I had some savings, but it drained fast. And every time I closed my eyes, I saw my mother's pale face in that hospital bed. Daniel was the only constant. He didn't push me, didn't ask for trust one wasn't ready to give. He just showed up. A warm meal left at my door. A ride when my car broke down. Quiet conversations when the weight of silence was too much. One night, sitting across from him in a tiny coffee shop, I broke down. My hands shook around the mug as I whispered, I don't even recognize myself anymore. I'm lying, hiding, stealing. All for what? He didn't lecture me. He just said softly, for love, Emily. You're fighting because you care. That doesn't make you weak. It makes you stronger than most people I know. For the first time in weeks I believed him. But peace never lasted. Crawford wasn't done with me. I got a call from an unknown number. His voice hissed through the line, venomous. You think running will save you? I own you, Emily. One word from me and your brother's future is gone. College? Gone. Job prospects? Gone. You'll drag your whole family down with you. My knees nearly gave out. Fear wrapped around me like chains. That night, Daniel found me crying in the motel parking lot. I wanted to push him away, but instead I whispered everything. The threats, the fear, the unbearable weight. He didn't flinch. He just stood there listening until finally he said, then we stop running. We fight back. We walked for hours after that. Down empty streets, through the soft glow of streetlights. For the first time I felt safe. I told him about my father, how he died when I was 16. How I promised Mom I'd protect Josh no matter what. Daniel opened up too, about why he left the police, about the corruption he couldn't stomach anymore. For a moment, it felt like two broken people finding pieces of themselves in each other. But then, the truth hit me like a storm. While cleaning up in the motel room, I found a hidden folder in Daniel's bag. Files. Photos. Records of Crawford's crimes. And my name was in them. My hands shook as I whispered, you knew, all along. When I confronted him, his face hardened. Not guilty. Not ashamed. Just calm. Yes, Emily. I know everything about you. Because I was sent to take Crawford down, and you were my way in. My chest tightened, my breath shallow. I didn't know whether to trust him, or hate him for the secret he was hiding. The moment I feared most came true. He cornered me, and this time, there was no way out. Crawford didn't wait long to strike back. One night, Daniel and I received an anonymous message with an address. Against my better judgment I went. The warehouse smelled of oil and dust, shadows stretching across the floor. And then I saw him. Richard Crawford. Smiling like the devil himself. Emily, he purred, stepping closer. I gave you everything. And this is how you repay me? Running off with a disgraced cop. His eyes flicked toward Daniel. He's using you. You mean nothing to him. My throat tightened. For a moment, doubt clawed at me. Daniel stepped forward, his voice steady. You've stolen lives, Crawford. Manipulated families. I've got the proof, and soon the world will see it. Crawford's smirk faltered, but only for a second. He turned to me, voice dripping with venom. Think carefully, Emily. Hand him over and your family walks free. Stay with him, and you'll bury your mother and your brother. The room spun. My chest felt like it was caving in. I looked at Daniel. The man who had saved me lied to me and yet stood unwavering at my side. For the first time in my life I realized the truth. Crawford wasn't offering freedom. He was offering chains. My lips trembled as I whispered the words that sealed my fate. No more, Richard. I choose to fight. The fury in his eyes told me everything. I had just changed the course of my life forever. The one word. I knew my life would never be the same again. I thought I would feel free when it was finally over. But freedom has its own price. The police swarmed the warehouse after Daniel released the evidence. Sirens wailed, lights flashed, and for the first time Richard Crawford looked small. Powerless. The man who had held my family hostage with fear was dragged away in handcuffs, his empire collapsing in front of my eyes. I should have felt relief. I should have felt safe. Instead I sank to the floor, shaking, tears streaming down my face. All I could think about was my mother's fragile smile, Josh's future, and the fact that I had broken the law to protect them. Daniel knelt beside me, his hand warm against mine. His voice was gentle. You don't have to carry this alone anymore. For the first time in months I let myself believe him. I let myself believe that maybe, just maybe, love could grow from the ashes of everything I'd lost. I whispered almost to myself, only true love gives you the strength to fight for yourself. Life slowly began to stitch itself back together. Mom's treatment resumed, Josh returned to school, and I found myself daring to hope again. But just when I thought the storm had passed, a shadow returned. One evening I came home to find an envelope on my doorstep. No return address. Inside was a single photo, me and Daniel at the warehouse, taken from the shadows. And scrawled across the back in red ink were 4 chilling words. This isn't over, Emily. I froze, my heart pounding in my ears. And in that moment I realized something terrifying. I thought my story ended here, but destiny had another storm waiting.